KILR Killer Game.
Hello, gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and welcome back, finally, to the World Tour featuring Microsoft Flight Simulator 2. You may be wondering, why am I saying finally? Well, because I mentioned this before. The image of Scenery Disc number 9 has this special copy protection on it, and when people were bypassing that in order to successfully make an image of the disc that could be used, a good chunk of scenery was gone, was erased. The only way that you would be able to use that scenery is by using an unaltered teledisc image. And I had trouble trying to find something that would be able to use that teledisc image. Well, I finally was able to find something that would actually use it. And what we're looking at right here is the PC version of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2. However, we are going to make that disappear with a little magic. And now we have the Tandy 1000 version of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2. Instead of using DOSBox or the Defend front end, which is what I was using in order to switch floppies, we're using 86 box. So we're using the emulator 86 box with a running a Tandy 1000. It is the only one that allows you to use teledisc images. And so as a result of that, the only thing that I can use is the Tandy version instead of the PC version of Flight Simulator 2. So one, we're not going to have the nice color that we had before. There is a way to set it if we use, if we emulate a 1000. Actually, we're emulating a 1200. Really, that's what we're doing, is a 1200. But unfortunately, we can get color with the 1000, but 4 of those keys are used to switch colors, which would have been like for throttle, and the keys that would be used for the throttle don't work on the Tandy 1000 emulated keyboard. So we have to use the 1200 in order to get it to work. So that's why we have this color. I was able to get the color version to work if I used a joystick for the throttle. The problem is, if I push up on it, it doesn't stay up. It just, or actually I have to push it to the left in order. It's weird. But basically, it's not a self-centering joystick, right? You know, it's one of these. It's a thumbstick. And so it's going to snap back to the middle, and the throttle just shuts off. So in order to fly, I would have to hold that that thumbstick the whole way, and there is no way to change the settings around and stuff on 86 box. Now you may be wondering, why 86 box? Why not PCEM? Because the PCEM does not take the teledisc images. It doesn't work with it. Why can 86 box do it, but PCEM can't? Who knows? But that's the thing. I did try to load it with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2, but I couldn't get it to work. It's a long story. Let's just say I tried all kinds of possibilities, and this was the only solution that I could come up with. But at least I got a solution. So that way we can continue our tour just as it was meant to be, following the same airports as the other simulators. Well, in this case, it would be the Commodore 64, the Amiga, and Flight Simulator 3, because all the other ones are going up into Canada. But with that aside, let's go ahead and talk about the flight and where we're going to be going. Okay, so this is the map for scenery disc number 9, and this is where we're at. We're at La Crosse. This is our destination, Dane County Regional Trial Field. Now, I mentioned this before. The scenery disc image, it's like this whole area is missing from it. Pewaukee is there, but then Chicago O'Hare is not. So like Pewaukee's on there, Schaumburg is there, DuPage is on there, but then this is not. And while we fly, I'm going to show that to you. In a little window, I'm going to we're going to fly with scenery disc number 9 on the PC version to O'Hare, and you're going to see what happens. It's going to just vanish. So I just want to give you guys a visual, so that way if you do try to play this on a PC somehow, there's going to be stuff that's missing. But anyway, so we know where we're going to go. We're going to tune in to Lone Rock. I think we can tune in from where we're at. If not, well, we'll tune into the La Crosse VOR, and we'll leave at a vector of 120, and then we will capture the Lone Rock VOR and head out at 90, and we should end up somewhere around here, especially if we take the Madison VOR and come south at 180 degrees. So a little tricky. We're going to be switching VORs and stuff, or we're going to be switching our nav radios. But that is the plan, Stan. So let's go ahead and get to that there. So I'm going to move my map off to the side and get my simulator ready to go here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and unpause both of the simulators. They'll have the same time, or relatively close to the same time. But I think you could tell that they were both at the same spot. Do you see that? You can see that if you look in the upper left there, you can see the runway. So we're at La Crosse, and we'll go ahead and pull up the map. See? Just where we left off. See, there's the Mississippi River. Right? Then if I go over to the PC version here and bring up the map. See, it looks nice, doesn't it? Too bad we can't fly that way. But yeah, you can see that we are using the scenery disc. The difference is we'll actually be able to see the rest of the scenery. And there's going to be another problem, and you'll see that as we take off here. All right, let's go ahead and get things started here. If you look over to the, yeah, you can see my mouse. Over in this area, you can see mags off. If we do M2, that makes it left. M3 is right. M4 is both, and M5 is start. Just like we're turning the key. So we are set there. And I think it would just be easy if we just go to this runway over here, and then we'll take... Oh, yeah, we need to set the VORs. That actually might help. Let me look for ATIS here. I don't think it's there for La Crosse. No, it's not. And it's not there for Dane either. Not a problem, not a problem. Okay, so we're going to be going from, so nav, or N2. La Crosse is 108.4. So N2 does the main digits NN. After that, does the decimal. Oh, 108.4. So now we need to do V2, and then plus minus, and we can set that for 120. Okay, so that one's all set. Now Lone Rock is 112.8. Actually, I should set... I always like to have nav1 set to the VOR that I always use to land with, so let's set nav1 to 108.4. I keep thinking it's like a radio station, like we're tuning in. Oh, well, technically it is kind of like a radio thing. It's a VOR. All right, set that for 120 there. And then nav2 will be Lone Rock, which is 112.8. 112.8. Oh, good. We have it tuned in. And then the VOR is going to be 90. Whoops. V2. There we go. So I think we are set to go. Let's go ahead and... Oh, that's right. I can't use the numerical keypad. I thought I could. Yeah, it's the function keys to use the throttle. So F4, or I can use the numerical keypad. The throttle's not there. Okay. Now, do you see that funky graphic going on there? Yeah, it doesn't emulate a Tandy perfectly. So we're going to have some funky graphics, but at least scenery disk number 9 is going to work where we want it to work. And then maybe one of these days, if the emulation gets better and we can actually emulate it properly, I can re-record the episodes. Oh, I forgot that the rudder does not work. I forgot about that. Okay, hang on a second. We have got to turn auto coordination back on because I've only got one side of the rudders, not both. Okay. Well, did that turn? No, that did not turn off the max. Okay, we're good. We're good. It looks like it's drawing mountains or something. and throwing the center line up in the sky. Out of all fairness, though, I was doing some research to see if anyone else has done Flight Simulator 2 with the Tandy, and it was doing the same thing for them too. It's kind of disappointing because I just recently have had success with Flight Simulator 1 and finally being able to get it to show the graphics properly. And I tried everything I could to get this to work correctly. With the scenery disc. I know this looks absolutely awful. But we can still make our flights just as we planned them. It'll just be scary. Alright. Well, let's take off here. Exodus! Hey, how are you? Thank you for following and being part of the KILR community. Good to have you with us. Alright, we're up! There's the airport and just about everything else that's that's moving all over the place. The instruments work fine though, have you noticed that? Instruments are perfectly fine. All right, we're going to let's see. What do you think about something like a 110 degree here? Oh, sorry. We're wanting to capture the nav 1, not nav 2. Where is that needle at? Oh, okay. It's over to the left. All right. We're just going to rock back and forth just for the fun of it. Okay, actually, that road is going to take us to Dane. Dane County Regional Trow. The graphics are not too bad. I mean, yeah, they're a little whacked out, but not compared to Flight Simulator 1 if you try to play it on PC EM. Yeah. Exodus is saying, on the days of 4-color CGA. Right? Whoa, we just passed our... That didn't take long for us to... Yeah, earlier I was explaining why we can't go full color, and that's because with PCEM, I'm sorry, DOSBox, the image for scenery disk number 9, in order for them to make an image, it has special copy protection on it, so they had to work around and bypass it, and as a result, a huge chunk of scenery wound up being missing. So the only way to be able to get the full scenery is to use the teledisc version. But DOSBox cannot use teledisc. PCEM cannot use teledisc. I tried it on PCE, and that didn't work either. Because I would have to use a combination between an image and a teledisc. Nope, that didn't work. The only thing that I was able to get to work is with 86 box with a Tandy 1000. Well, this is technically a Tandy 1200 because of the keyboard emulation. If I was able to emulate a Tandy 1000 properly, then we would be able to get color. The graphics would still look whacked out, but we would have the full color. The problem with it though is that for some reason the function keys for the throttle, which is F9, F10, F11, F12, don't work. Well, we need throttle in order to fly. It's kind of important. Because F1, F2, F3, F4 switches the color. It switches color options, F4 being the full color version. I can get it to work with a joystick as far as getting the throttle to work, but the problem is that it's an auto-centering thumbstick, basically. And so whenever I move it and let go, it just, the throttle goes up and it goes down, and well, you know, that's a little bit of a problem too. I would have to hold the stick the whole time that I'm flying. So not fun, not fun. Okay, just to show everyone that we're not looking at anything, that road there is leading to our destination, which is Dane. Was it Dane County Regional Trial Field? And right behind us is La Crosse with the Mississippi River. And this is where we left off on the world tour. And the reason why we had a delay on that was because I could not find a way to get the scenery disc number 9 to work until recently. Now I can get it to work. Okay, so I was mentioning earlier that when flying, it's like you'll have something tuned in and then you'll get to the part that's missing and everything vanishes, including the VORs. So you may have it tuned in from a distance, but the minute you get to that area, it's gone. The first time I noticed it was with St. Louis. I was just running a test flying to St. Louis, and then all of a sudden it was gone. I was approaching it, and then it all vanished. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, it's got to be there. And, well, yeah, I found... And here's the other thing, too, is that the Sublogic scenery discs, when Flight Simulator 3 came out, there was a little program that it came with to convert your Flight Simulator 2 discs over to Flight Simulator 3 to the format that it could read. And that same format you could read on Flight Simulator 4 as well. And all the missing airports that I noticed on Flight Simulator 2 were there for Flight Simulator 3, so that tells me that something was wrong with the images on Flight Simulator 2. And then when I found out that scenery disc number 9 and 7, I think it was 7 and 9, have a special copy protection where you gotta bypass it, and then, well, the tracks on the disc that had the copy protection had scenery on it also, and it disappeared. But I'm going to show that to you in a small little window here as soon as we kind of get set up here. Okay, let's go ahead and pull up the PC emulator here, or actually it's DOSBox. There it is right there. All in color. Whoops. In its glory. We're going to go ahead and take this back to Megs. So I'm looking up the coordinates for that. So it's going to be 17186 and there you go. So here is Merrill C. Megs with scenery disc number 9. So you get a little bit more scenery with that. So I'm going to go ahead and shrink this window. That's not it. Apparently I clicked on something else here. What did I click on? Wasn't that? Darn it, I keep... Aha. No? I am trying to shorten this window, and for some reason... Oh. I think I know why. There we go. So the one that we're actually flying is down below. In this little window, and I'm going to move that right over here, I'm going to show you what happens with the PC version with a regular image. So I'm going to move that over here. I'm going to switch back over to the Tandy. I got to keep an eye on that. And it looks like we're okay altitude-wise. And I turned the sound off on the PC version, so... No, I did not. Oh, shoot. If you miss it, you got to go all the way back. Okay. Yeah, we don't need two of those sounds going. Ah, that's not the right key. Oh, it's a little different on the PC apparently. Okay, so the controls are a little bit different on the PC version compared to the Tandy version. We're going to fly to Chicago O'Hare, and that's on the tracks that have the copy protection. And since those were bypassed, that scenery is gone. So you're going to see what happens. And this is the reason why that I had to wait until I found the solution to get the scenery disc to work. Okay, so yeah, scenery disc number 9, you get a little bit more scenery here in the Chicago area, which is kind of nice. Okay, so we're up and running here. Oh, okay. I got to use my trim. Ooh, that might be a little too much. Okay, so Chicago O'Hare off in this direction. Now I'm going to tune in Chicago O'Hare also, the VOR, because you're going to see that that's going to disappear as well. Okay, Chicago O'Hare is 113.9. 113.9. Okay. And we'll go ahead and... Oops. Get the VOR set to 2. Okay, so we'll turn to a heading of 300. Meanwhile, I'll need to switch back to the Tandy. We're still looking good there. So you can still see the scenery. Now you'll see a few more white lines up ahead. So that's going to be O'Hare. Okay, well, somewhat. Yeah, sorry, that's right, the compass is off. Whoa, what happened there? Okay, so you can see this over here is Pewaukee. Right here is going to be Chicago O'Hare. So just give it a little bit, you're going to see what's going to happen. I just want to give you all a visual in case you want to fly Flight Simulator 2 on your own with the scenery discs. This is a little disheartening. I couldn't believe that O'Hare wound up getting erased from the image. But in a way it makes sense because O'Hare is big and it's got all those lines and stuff, so it takes up room. So now remember, keep an eye on the VOR too. Keep an eye on the nav radio. So right now it's 11.3, 11.2. The VOR may still be there. I was doing tests and I know some areas it was working, other areas it was not. Yeah, I know the window's a little small there. Oof, I need to turn the volume down because that's kind of painful on the ears. So about 10 miles away from O'Hare. go back and check on the Tandy. Still looks okay. Okay, that is moving. So you can tell that's definitely O'Hare. We're getting closer to it. This video was brought to you by Jack in a Box. No, it wasn't. I don't have any sponsors. Not yet. Maybe in time. Watch it work. I'd be embarrassed. I know it disappears though, because every time that I tried it, it was gone. There it is. Do you see that? It's gone. Look at the DME. Look at the VOR. VOR is off. DME is blank. That is the problem that I was having with the PC version. With scenery disc number 9. So the airport that we're flying to on the Tandy was gone. All those airports in that area just were completely gone. And the same thing happened here. So it's kind of like you fly into this twilight zone or void or something, and it's like everything is gone. You were tuned in on the way, and then when you get there, it vanishes. So that's just completely weird. And if I look behind, there's nothing there either. See, it's all gone. So that is the problem that I was facing. We can go ahead and not take that off. Take that off there. And so I, at least with the Tandy on 86 box, I was able to get everything working the way that it was supposed to be working. I, at least with the Commodore 64, because I have that series going as well for the World Tour, and the scenery looks exactly the same because Sublogic was the ones that were doing the scenery. At least you could see the areas that we're flying to, and being able to see the scenery just as it was meant to be seen. Same thing with Flight Simulator 3. So at least you had something. But I wanted to be able to do something with Flight Simulator 2 because I know that there are viewers out there who grew up with the simulator. This may have been their first simulator, so I want to be able to do that for people. And just as another test, as soon as we land over at Dane County, we'll take a look at the coordinates and we'll put the same exact coordinates in on the PC version of Flight Simulator 2, and you'll see that there's nothing there. It's all gone. Okay, I don't have a Flight Simulator 2 manual yet, otherwise we'd be reading out of that. So until we get that, and we'll have plenty of time to be able to get that, because there's a lot to cover on the scenery discs. We are going to go back to the book that I read on some of these flights. I think it was with Flight Simulator 2. I don't remember. Why do cowboys wear high heels? Some interesting facts and stuff. Are elephants afraid of mice? Not as a rule. The myth arose from an ancient Greek story about a mouse that crawled up an elephant's trunk and drove it mad. If that incident ever really happened, it was an isolated one. Elephants are generally calm and well-adjusted animals that ignore mice and other small creatures. Indeed, most elephants can't see animals that tiny. Their eyesight is extremely poor. They rely mostly on their sense of smell, and mice don't smell all that much. Besides, a herd of 10 to 55-ton animals can handle a mouse. Elephants only show fear in the face of recognized predators, such as big cats, dogs, and humans. Do camels store water in their humps? Not a drop. That is not what their humps are for. Fat is stored there to provide energy when the animal is deprived of nourishment. Hey, Santo Town. How you doing there, buddy? Good to see ya. We're talking about humps on a camel and if they store water. They don't. They store fat for nourishment. So, equally important, the hump absorbs the direct rays of the sun, cooling them down and protecting the vital organs below. Thanks a lot for following. I appreciate that. You are now officially part of the KILR community. We have fun here. How then can camels go from 8 days to 8 weeks without water? They do it by sweating and urinating very little. I know, just the thing that you wanted to hear, right? Wastewater is absorbed into the camel's body, oh, yum, and is literally recycled. The high water content of the blood helps keep the animal cool in extreme heat. At the same time, their metabolic rate slows as needed, allowing them to ration water. So, interesting facts. So, got a couple more facts here that we can get to a little bit later. Do crocodiles shed tears, and why do earthworms come out when it rains? So, some fun stuff that we can take a look at while we fly, because there's not much to look at. But we do have scenery out this direction. I am doing pretty good. All things considering. This is actually a momentous occasion with this particular video and stream. I have a World Tour series over on my YouTube channel. I've been doing this series for over a year and a half or so, and all the different flight simulators are flying the same exact route, but I had a hold up on Flight Simulator 2 for the PC because we got to a certain spot, and then the airport that we're flying to right now, everything disappeared. It completely vanished. And I can show you what I mean by pulling up that right there. We were doing a test earlier, and that is the PC version, and what you're looking at would be Chicago O'Hare. And as you can see, there's nothing. Now keep in mind, that is with scenery disk number 9. And the reason why that happened is because in order to make an image out of the disk, they had to bypass some copy protection on certain tracks of the disk. Those tracks had scenery, and thus scenery is missing. However, on the Tandy version, this is the only version I was able to get this to work. The Tandy version, I can get the teledisc images to work. The teledisc images still have those tracks on them. The only emulator I was able to find... Ooh, that went off there. Let me click on that there. Was 86box. Not PC emulator. Although you can emulate a Tandy with it, but you can't use teledisc images. I have tried every possible every possible solution that I could, with no success. The only success I had was simulating a Tandy 1200 actually, and I was able to not only get Flight Simulator 2 to work, but also get scenery disk number 9 to work. And that's the important thing there. Now we do have some graphical problems. As you can see, the road there has just popped up into the sky and then it went down. And that is a problem just with the emulation itself. It doesn't normally do that. Yeah, there was a lot of testing and stuff that I had to do. And then this color scheme is a whole nother thing too. So when you start up Flight Simulator 2, you have the option to use a Tandy 1000 keyboard or a Tandy 1200 keyboard. If you use a Tandy 1000 keyboard, F1, 2, 3, and 4 will switch color modes. And one of them is the actual color mode that you see right there. It actually looks a little nicer, as a matter of fact. But the problem is that the function keys that work for the throttle, which is F9, 10, 11, and 12, didn't work. It just flat out didn't work. It's hard to fly if your throttle doesn't do anything. Now I was able to get it to work with a joystick, simulating a joystick on port number 2. This is what I've got, and the thumbsticks are self-centering. So you can imagine what was happening with the throttle. I would be able to move it up, but the minute the stick went back to the center, the throttle would go off again. So in order to fly it, I would have to fly the whole time holding the stick off to the left, not even up. I couldn't get it to work that way. I had to move the stick to the left, and I'd have to hold it there with one hand and then use my other hand to do the keyboard controls. Not the most efficient way to fly. But, and this is a longer flight. This particular flight is a little longer. And so, yeah, I didn't quite want to do that. That is not a mountain, by the way. That's the road. That's the road doing some weird stuff. And so the area that we are flying to, the airport that we're flying to, all of the scenery disappeared from this as well. And so we left off at La Crosse, Wisconsin. Whereas Flight Simulator 4 and the later simulators kept going north because, well, there's coverage that way. Flight Simulator 2, 3, basically 2 for the Commodore 64, for the Amiga, and then Flight Simulator 3 would then start going back east again. And I can go ahead and show you. Yeah, that would hurt my thumb also. Let me go ahead and show you the Scenery Disc number 9 map, so that way I can let you know what I'm talking about here. All right. So here it is. This is where we were. So La Crosse, next to the Mississippi River. The flight before this one was actually from Dubuque. We did a VFR flight following the Mississippi up to the La Crosse. And that became really neat as we went up through the simulators and actually seeing it with Flight Simulator 5 and 98 and 2000, 2002. It just got interesting with each of the simulators and how this was depicted. But we went to La Crosse, and so Flight Simulators 2 and 3 would fly here to Lone Rock and then here to Dane County Regional Trail. This is where we're going. And so the Commodore 64 could do it. The Commodore Amiga could do it. Flight Simulator 3 could do it. Flight Simulator 2 could not. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2 could not. By the time we got to this area, all the scenery disappeared. And this whole area was gone. This whole area is missing scenery. That as well. And then Chicago O'Hare. And then if I scroll over this way, like all of these airports here were gone. And down here were gone. Fort Wayne was there. And Kalamazoo, Kellogg, and Grand Rapids were all there, but all the other ones were missing. So you can see what I mean on how that's a little disheartening. And I was trying to find... Ooh, we passed the airport. What is this here? That looks like that might be an airport. Yeah, it was a little depressing that I could not get Microsoft Flight Simulator 2 to follow until now. We just have a few weird graphical things going on. Okay. Well, let's see. I need to pull the map back up just so that way I've got reference here, because we need to tune in to Madison, Dane County Regional Trial Field, which is 108.6. So in one... Whoop. Uh-oh. What did I just do? Oh, that can't be good. Oh, the mags. I did something and it set them to lean. Got to be careful with those with the keyboard controls. .6. Okay. Well, then this is definitely not an airport because we're about 25 miles away from the airport. And then 4.1, we need to set this to 180 degrees. There we go. So, let's see. We're looking at the whacked up graphics of a river there. I'll show you whereabouts we are on the map. We'll pull that back up again here. So we are probably right around here. That little thick blue part, I believe, this is what we're looking at, and then the river. So we're somewhere around here. I'm trying to capture the Lone Rock Vor at a 90-degree heading, so that way we can come here and then capture the Madison one and come south and land on runway 18. That's our flight plan there. And I think what we're going to need to do is just kind of turn a little bit this way. I forgot the name of this small lake. I can pull that up on a real map. Let me go ahead and do that. I'm sure you guys are interested to find out what the river is and what this lake is that we're looking at. Okay, let's see. Good old Google Maps. DCS World. I've heard of it, but I haven't really looked into that. Let's see. Madison, Wisconsin. Okay. So the lake is Lake Wisconsin. So this is Lake Wisconsin. And the river is the Wisconsin River. I think this is actually the border of Wisconsin and Illinois? I'm zooming out here. No, it's not the border. The border's a little bit further south. Yeah. And there's our VOR, the OBS number 2. The needle is starting to move. So that's good. I believe this lake right over here, the airport's on the other side. So this road here actually leads to it. Let me pull up my map again here, and I can tell you which road that is, actually. That should be Interstate 90. And the river, or the lake, that looks like it's getting attacked by a bunch of weird stuff, is Lake Mendota. So although you get some VFR flying with this, it's a little wacky there, so you still need to focus on your instruments in order to get there. And I did some research prior to see if anyone else has done any videos on Flight Simulator with the Tandy, and I saw the same exact thing, so I'm not the only one that had trouble with this. No one has done full flights though. They usually just do little clips or something. As far as I'm aware, I'm the only one that's been doing full flights with the old simulators. There is one fella on YouTube though. I'm actually subscribed to him. He does videos with Flight Simulator 98. And he's got full flights on his channel. And actually, his channel actually inspired me to do some different types of flights, because I usually do general aviation. And that guy, Coam is his name. It's C-O-A-M. So some free advertisement there. He does it with airliners and other types of planes, and that told me that, hey, I probably should stretch my wings out a little. A little bit of a pun there. Oh, yeah, okay. I was getting a little confused there. My YouTube, there's a link there on the homepage. It's KILR TV, KILR TV. Should be able to find it. I've also got Twitter and Instagram. Instagram is also, I think that one's actually spelled out as KILR Television. Well, KILR and then television. My Twitter is KILR Gamer. And my Snapchat, if anyone does that anymore, is Von_Shep. So I got all those links. It's like I have the Snapchat. I don't know if anyone's interested in it. If people are interested in it, then I would love to do it. I just haven't really figured out ideas of what to do with it. I know you take pictures and you can draw things on them and stuff. But, I want to use the social media in a fun way, a fun, entertaining way for people to, to make the whole experience enjoyable. Now, when landing, as long as I don't stall, I should be okay. The minute you stall, it just it just noses down and you're done. And I could have a great approach, and then it just noses down. It's frustrating. Yep, that is definitely the lake. Yeah, stretching my wings out. I couldn't think of another way to say that. Broaden my horizons. No, wait, there's another pun. Yeah, we're definitely out in the horizon, so. Oh, and another thing too, with the other simulators, I am not just flying default. So I've got like Flight Simulator 5 and 98. I have them all tricked out with expansions and add-ons to really enhance it in ways that, number one, I didn't do the first time around, but also really making it an incredible experience. It looks like we're approaching our vector here. And we got 11.4 miles to go. And all of our scenery is here. This I'm just excited, even though it's a little weird. Although it looks a little weird, it's at least here. And I think this one had an ATIS. Take a quick look here. Madison, okay, no ATIS, but it does have a fuel box. I love the fuel boxes. After a long flight, going to the fuel box and watching your tanks go up, that was just a satisfying thing. Because not all the airports had a fuel box. Okay, we're 9 miles from the airport. We better start our descent here, so let's not get that much flaps down. Oh my goodness. Okay, why is that going? No, no, no. Oh my goodness. Oh, for crying out loud. There we go. And I see the airport. You may see the airport there. It's right in front of us. Okay, landing gear down. Oh, it's been down this whole time. The red up would have been my sign that we've been flying with the landing gear down the whole time. Oh, this should be fun trying to line up. It's one thing when you've got the lines as jagged edges, but when they're flying up into the sky and all over the place, I can somewhat make out the runway, though. And we are approaching it. And what was the... Okay, the altitude is 863. So we'll keep that in mind. 6 miles to go. I strongly suggest that we not do that. Get down in altitude here. Let's take a look at the map real quick. Okay, we can't really see the airport just yet. Hey, well, you know, they got Cessnas with landing gear that don't retract, right? So... The funny thing, though, is that because of the old simulator, my first one was the Commodore 64, actually. Ooh, we look like we might be off-center here a little bit. Because of that, I was always used to the retractable landing gear, and then I'm not sure which simulator. Maybe it was Flight Simulator 2000. That the default Cessna did not have retractable landing gear, but they did have one that did. And then, I don't know, I think it was like Flight Simulator. Yeah, FS9 didn't have it at all. I had to get a Cessna. I had to buy a Cessna that actually had retractable landing gear, and then FSX and P3D also, because that's my thing. I love the retractable landing gear. Especially when you have the sound and it's going zzz. We've got to control our descent with power here. Okay, runway's coming up. You can see it. You guys are probably thinking, how in the heck can I make this out? I've had practice. Not only did I fly it back in the day, but since I've been doing this on the other simulators, my eyes are a little accustomed to it. But I won't kid you, after doing it for a little bit, it's a little hard on the eyes. Alright, here we come. This just looks scary. Come on. I don't think we're going to land on the runway. Yeah, it was kind of hard. We landed. It was kind of hard to... We were centered on the runway, but then we just kind of lost it there. But I think it's a little understandable considering the runway is jumping up into the sky and every other weird thing. And we'll just take a look at the map here. Okay, well, let's turn around here. And we'll park over here next to this other runway. Usually when I park on these old ones, I want to kind of park in the corner of a couple of runways. And then we'll stop. We'll look at the coordinates. And then I will type those into the PC version. And you will see how there is absolutely nothing. The period, by the way, is the brake. Okay, and then we just go M1, and that will turn off the engines. So we're all good there. Yeah, everything's okay, JR Codes. But by the way, it's glad to see you. I'm glad to see you again. Yeah, it did look like lightning with with the roads going all the way up into the sky and stuff. Okay, where's my PC version? Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay, so we're going to go to the settings here. Okay, so you can see that north position is 17726, 16119, and I will go ahead and pull up. That is the PC version. That is Chicago O'Hare. Absolutely nothing. That's the problem with Scenery Disc number 9, because they had to bypass the copy protection. So that's why we're doing this on a Tandy. That's the only way I was able to get it to work. That's why the graphics look a little whacked out. So let's go here, and we will set this to 17726161190 altitude. Okay, well, let's try that again. 17726161190. Whoops. 0. Okay, there you go. Nothing. You see that? There is nothing here. This is why I hadn't continued my World Tour series with Flight Simulator 2, because after La Crosse it was all blank. And if I pull up the map here and zoom out, see, there you go. See, you can see it's got the world map, but it's all blank. There's like nothing. So that is the area. That is where Madison, Wisconsin would be, but it's gone. But yeah, we do have the scenery disc, and if I press E, you can see here's the scenery disc: USA, Chicago, St. Louis, and Cincinnati. So the scenery disc is there, but because of the copy protection, because they had to bypass it, huge chunks of scenery are missing. But not if we have the Tandy version. With the Tandy version, we can use a teledisc image on 86 box, and everything works out fine. We can zoom out here as well. And there you go. Do you see that? Okay, well, you could sort of see it until the graphics were... So you could see that, but I zoomed out further and the graphics just went blah. But yeah, there we go. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I appreciate it. Remember, I am on social media with Twitter and Instagram. I keep them fun and try to put a few behind-the-scenes stuff in there, and hopefully everyone's enjoying that. Be sure to head over to Twitch and follow me on Twitch, so that way you guys have a chance to interact with me. So over on Twitch is twitch.tv/KILRGamer. So anyways, thanks everyone. Have a good night or good morning, wherever you guys are on the earth, the world. And I will see you on another stream. Take care.